Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Today I'm going to be sharing with you guys my math problem that I created from scratch. Here it goes. Alright, so a terrorist organization has launched an intercontinental ballistic missile, aka an ICBM, at the White House from 5,000 miles away. The missile was programmed to create an arc with the equation of f of x negative 0.00032 x squared plus 1.6x. Once the US detected the missile, they quickly made plans to use hit-to-kill technology, where they fire an interceptor missile to directly hit and destroy the ICBM. To directly hit the ICBM, the US plans to program the interceptor missile tangent to the arc of the ICBM. They plan on hitting the ICBM 2,000 miles from the White House. What is the slope of the interceptor missile's programmed pathway? What is the slope of the ICBM when it is 4,000 miles away from the White House? And how far away is the US base from the area where the terrorists shot the ICBM? Alright, well, the first question was to find the slope of the interceptor missile's pathway. And to do this, we said that it is going to be tangent to the arc of the ICBM. So if you look at this graph, the parabola right here, the parabola right here is the arc of the ICBM. I graphed it out and plotted the points using this graph of points. So once I did that, I used it says the plan on hitting the ICBM 2,000 miles from the White House. So that means that 2,000 miles from the White House is going to be 3,000 miles on this graph. So I used the equation f of x negative 0.0032 x squared plus 1.6x, and I plugged it in at where x equals 3,000, and I found the derivative. I used the derivative formula to find the slope. And the formula I used was f of x plus h minus f of x over h. So, doing all that math, I plugged in x plus h and I squared it, and then I plugged in x plus h right here where all the areas for x are, and then I simplified until I got negative 0.0032 h squared minus 0.32h over h. And then I took out an h from that, and I crossed these two h's out, which left me with negative 0.00032h minus 0.32. And to make sure that the slope is correct, you have to plug h in as 0. And that gives you a slope of negative 0.32. So that was the slope of the interceptor missile's pathway, and this was all the math that you had to do to figure it out. Now, for number 2, you had to find the slope of the ICBM 4,000 miles away from the White House. So, 4,000 miles away from the White House on this graph is at the point 1,012.80. So, to do that, to find the slope, well, I mean, I guess you could have used 2 points, but I used the derivative again. I used the derivative formula, and that was f of x plus h minus f of x over h. I did all the math that was similar to the math here, and I ended up getting a slope of 9.6. The last question was how far away the US base was from the area the terrorists shot the ICBM. So, we know that the US base was somewhere over here, in between the White House and where the ICBM was launched. The White House was in between. So to figure this out, you had to plug in the x and y coordinates where the interceptor missile hit. So, and that coordinate was 3,000, 1920. And we used the slope that we got from the interceptor missile's pathway, and that gave us this formula right here when we use point slope form. Y minus 1920 equals negative 0.32 times x minus 3,000. And this gave us y equals negative 0.32x plus 2,880. Now to find the x-intercept, you could either graph the line or you could plug y in for 0. I did both, and I ended up with the x-intercept being 9,000. So when you graph that on the graph, see where I have this is the missile's intercept. This is the interceptor missile's pathway right here, and if you graph this line, the x-intercept is 9, and the interceptor missile hitting the ICBM hits right here. So and the distance from this is where the base launched the missile. So this is where the ICBM was launched. So the distance from these 2 points are 9,000 miles. So that is the answer for number 3. Yep, and that is it. Thank you. I hope you enjoyed listening to my project. I enjoyed making this problem. It took me a long time to figure out what kind of world problem I wanted to solve. And since my dad is in the military, I thought it would be a great, I thought I could really apply the skills that they learn to this math problem, because it's a real world problem. Some of the things going on with missiles, with ICBMs, and yeah, thank you very much for listening to my project.